Welcome back to Country Conversations. My name is Joey, and as always, I'm joined by...
Hey man, it's Chris over here. What's going on tonight, Joey?
Hey, not much, man. We've got a super special guest on tonight we're super excited to chat with, so that's pretty exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and introduce our special guest tonight. We've got Tyler Reese Tritt on the podcast tonight, guys. This is a Nashville recording artist who's been putting out some great music lately, and we're super stoked to have her on the podcast. Tyler, welcome on.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess we can just kind of go into this and get started. Do you want to tell our listeners kind of how you got into music and where you're at in your career currently?
I got into it really, really young, being out on the road with my dad and just seeing him go up and do what he loves to do for a living. And like every single night, I was like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't imagine how awesome that
I
was
had
to
to,
see that firsthand.
oh, it was amazing. It was like, I couldn't describe it because to me, it was normal.
Yeah,
Like, but just going seeing him do his thing on stage, I was like, it was definitely a different experience. But it's what inspired me and made me fall in love with music. And I was like, oh my God, this is definitely what I want to do when I'm older.
that's awesome. And for those of you listening that don't know and can't tell by the last name, her father is the renowned Travis Tritt, the legend.
Absolutely.
So that's who she's referring to. So, Tyler, I know you mentioned just now, obviously, your father's been a musical influence for you, but who are some of your other musical influences that you had growing up or even currently?
Oh gosh, I love Linda Ronstadt. I love like the '90s country, so I grew up listening to Jody Messina, Faith Hill, uh, love me some Reba, uh,
That's right.
you name it. The
What
list
about
goes
what
on and
about
on.
any? I mean, I guess Linda Ronstadt is country and rock and just kind of dominated the '70s. But any other non-country acts that come to mind?
Oh gosh, yeah. Ariana Grande, Adele, Pink, uh, Lady Gaga. I just,
Yeah, yeah.
powerhouse
Just
vocals.
it's funny you mentioned that because that when we ask people now that come on the podcast about their influences, it's always a mixture of country and everything else. I think that's just kind of where music is nowadays.
Oh yeah. Oh, if anybody gets in my car, they know my playlist is all over the place. We're gonna be listening to rap one minute, we're gonna be listening to country the next minute, but yeah, country was always definitely like what that was my heart.
For
Yeah,
sure. Yep, I'm the same way. If you're riding in the car with me, we're going rap, hip hop, country, rock. It's kind of all over the place, so I feel you on that.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But the music that you've put out, it's not very driven by other genres. I was listening to it all again earlier, and it's got a very '90s production feel to it. It's got a very traditional sound to some of it. Just kind of talk to us a little bit about some of the music you've put out and the recent single that you just put out.
Yeah, Jada Dryer pitched me those songs and I heard them and my style is '90s meets now, so that was right up my alley.
Yeah,
And yeah, I heard both of them. I heard Porch Light, and I loved the sass to that song. It gave me very like Miranda Lambert vibes. So I was like, oh, like mess with me, I'll burn your house down kind of thing.
yeah.
And I loved that. And then Texas Hold'em, uh, I had played that song, and that one really hit for me because I was going through stuff with my ex at the time. I had just left Texas when she had sent me that song, and it was like I could have wrote it myself. Like I just remember listening to the lyrics and I was like, oh my God, like this just hits home. And I messaged her back immediately. I was like, do not give anybody else these two songs. These are my songs. I'm taking them. And yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned her name because when we were doing some research, her name kept coming up as songwriters on your all songs, and I mean, I know that name from oh gosh, what was the competition that she won back in 2018? And she's had a couple
Yeah.
of her own songs on the radio, probably about a decade ago. But she's
Real
killer in her own
country.
right. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
she's really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's great. Yeah, she's an amazing songwriter.
So did you record and produce the songs there in Nashville?
I did. Yes, I did with Alex Klein,
Okay.
and it was amazing.
What was that process like? I'm sure you've been around the studio for your whole life, your whole life, but what was that like?
Well, that was my first time going in to, record like, my debut singles. Obviously, I had been in the studio before, but this was the first time, like going in there as like, all right, this is my introduction as a new artist. And
Yeah,
it was really fun, but it was a great process because I had been in the studio before and, so it was really quick. I mean, we were in, we were out, but
yeah.
I always love the process of recording because it's so much fun.
That brings up a good point. So, like, as an artist, could you kind of like walk us and our listeners through the process of the time that you're pitched a song or co-writing on a song, and what that life cycle is like of the song before it actually gets released, and kind of the time frame on something like that?
Oh yeah, well, I mean,
I'm sure
all
it
the
probably varies.
processes are different. Oh yeah, well, all the processes are different. But for me, usually, I get pitched the song or we write the song, and then you sit on it for however long you feel it takes you to really learn it, get comfortable with it, that you're ready to go into the studio. Then you book the studio time, you go in, you record it till you love it. They'll go in, they'll tweak, produce it. You come back in, you listen to it again. Whatever you like, you keep. Whatever you don't like, you can change it. And then it's just a process of just going back and forth with your producer until you get it exactly how you want it. And then
Yeah,
once you have it, you're like, it's ready for the world.
That's awesome.
absolutely. Does your dad give you much input, or does he kind of leave you alone when it comes to that kind of stuff?
He does if I ask. And then, of
Yeah,
course, if he's overhearing something, he'll always give me his wise fatherly opinion.
that's
um,
right.
but, but yeah, for the most part, he's like, you can do it. He's like, figure it out. He's like, I didn't have anybody to help me. He's like, you got it. I'm like, yeah, okay.
That's awesome. So speaking of your dad, I know I looked on your socials, I believe, and I saw that you're doing some shows with him, or maybe he posted. I can't remember, but I know coming up soon, you guys are hitting the road and doing some shows together, and you have done shows together in the
We
past.
are.
And
Yep.
you've opened up for quite a few larger acts like Runaway June, Sheryl Crow. Talk to us about some of those experiences that you've had on the road.
Oh gosh, we've had so many good ones. We just, we've done Raylan not too long ago, Waylon Jennings. We had a show with Lainey Wilson, a couple months, like I think it was a couple months ago, or maybe it was last year. I get my dates all kinds of confused, but it was, yeah, we just have a blast out there, and obviously always fun opening with my dad. And I have a few shows left with dad, or a few shows in November because we haven't really had really many dates together at all this year, where before we used to have a lot.
Hmm.
So I'm really excited for these upcoming shows with him because these are the first that I've been able to do in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you guys are coming pretty close to us. We're in the Midwest. I'm actually in Ohio myself, so you guys are gonna actually. I don't know if you're on
Oh,
the Cincinnati show, but I think your dad's playing Cincinnati coming up like this weekend. Actually, I believe.
oh yeah, no, I think
Uh,
that's the War Hippies because I'm in Augusta this weekend.
okay,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and then
That's cool.
depending on where you're from, you say it differently. But Louisville, I think you're on that date. That's not too far from us.
Yeah.
We'll have to try to make it out there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're in Louisville and then Paducah, and then the next weekend is exciting because it's home shows, Georgia shows.
Oh yeah, what are
Oh
those
yeah.
like
So
for you
that'll be
guys?
fun. Oh my gosh, those are always wild. I love home shows because Georgia, we get crazy.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
It's
That's awesome.
super fun.
So obviously you've been around the live show for a long time, your whole life, kind of like what Chris mentioned a little bit ago. What is one of the most prominent memories of being on the road, either during your childhood or your own shows, that just sticks out and comes to mind?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I mean, because we have childhood memories. I mean, like me and my brother, we would grow up on the bus. We the days that we weren't in school, we wherever dad had a show, dad was always really good about, if there was things around the area for us kids to do, like if we're in Florida, we're going to Disney World, or if we're over here, we're doing. We definitely made a lot of memories, and just yeah, we really truly we had a blast.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Kind of going back to the music a little bit, but what's next? Do you got some other songs that you're getting ready to cut, or do you have a kind of a plan
Oh
for what you
yeah.
want to do next year?
Oh, we're actually planning studio time now because we have a few really good songs that we're ready to get in there and cut so we can get them out to y'all.
Heck
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm super excited about that.
Absolutely. So, thinking about the upcoming projects, who, if you can, like, and singles that you're cutting, can you give us any insight of subject matter on those songs, or like any of the writers that you're going to be meeting with, or anything like that?
Well, one of the writers is Donnie from the War Hippies. So he was the one who's pitched me these songs, and we had met for a co-write. Me, Donnie, and Scott from the War Hippies. And Donnie was like, I have three songs that I think would just fit you perfectly. So we sat down and we listened to them, and I was like, oh my God, these are perfect. These are great. And yeah, so long story short, I'm taking those. And
That's right.
yeah, we're going to go in and cut. So I'm super excited.
What do you ever get songs or listen to songs and at first you like them and then you're like I just don't know if that's for me. I mean, I'm sure that there's you got to hear
Oh, all
a
the
ton,
time.
yeah, songs where you're just like, it's not my, that's not for me, but I like that song. That's just it's hard to wrap your mind around getting to hear all those songs at the very beginning demo stage and then trying to figure out which ones that you like the most.
Oh, yeah, no, it's definitely. I'll listen to see. I'll wear myself out. I'll listen to it over and over and over again, and I'm like, I got to make sure that I still love it every time, just as much as the first time I've heard it. And there's some songs that I don't. I'll listen to it a few more times, and I'm like, all right,
Yeah,
it's good. But if I keep listening to it over and over again, and I still love it, just like I did the first time, then I'm usually like, all right, I got to do this one.
that's cool. Um, as far as Nashville goes, did you guys grow up in Georgia or did you grow up in Nashville?
Oh no, we grew up in Georgia. I still
Oh,
live in
okay.
Georgia. I love it out
Okay,
there.
that's what I thought. But I just wanted to I'm sure you've spent a ton of time in Nashville. It probably feels like your second home.
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
back and forth all the time, but I love it because I have
How
family here too, and
yeah. How far of a trek is that from Georgia to Nashville?
it's not bad. It's actually only 3 hours, so I can
Oh,
get there,
Oh
yeah,
wow.
that's not bad at all.
that same day if somebody needs me to.
Yeah, that's
It's a
yeah,
lot
that's
of
sweet.
country music has came out of Georgia.
Oh
It's
yeah,
Yes,
a
it
lot
sure
of people
has.
from Georgia.
that's no
A
joke.
lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, Tyler, going back
Love it.
to, I'm gonna kind of rewind. I know we're kind of bouncing all over the place here, but I'm gonna go back to the current single, Texas Hold'em. When you heard that song and decided to cut it, what were you hoping that your listeners and fans would take away from that?
Just that it resonated with them the way it resonated with me. Everybody has that one that they loved and that they want to be with, but they shouldn't be with. It just didn't work out. You're not good for each other, and but it's hard to let that person go, and that's what resonated with me, and that's what I was just hoping that everybody else that would listen to they'd be able to relate to.
For sure, and I think
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
that is what people listen to music as for fun, therapy, and I think that as an artist, you putting out stuff that people can resonate with is awesome. So that's cool. And the song is great for our listeners. Go check it out. It's on all streaming platforms. It's Texas Hold Him is how it's spelled, but Texas Hold'em. I love the pun on that. So that was cool.
I did too.
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah,
fun.
I did too.
But yeah, and I'm gonna bounce around again here. Sorry, because I just know you have a lot of experience just being on the road. What are some of the coolest venues that you've been to, or like maybe some of the coolest states other than the home state of Georgia?
Oh gosh. Oh, well, definitely festivals. I've played a lot of really good Strawberry Festival's always a favorite. Oh gosh. I love playing at like the Hard Rock. We played at a couple Hard Rocks. I don't know. We've played in a lot of really, really cool places. Um, yeah. Trying to think. Goodness. They really all
Yeah, I
run
was gonna say it
together.
probably
Like
runs
there's
together once you've been traveling like that
yeah,
your whole life.
it does. I'm like because every place, I have fun everywhere I go, so it's like every venue is special to me and like holds different memories and
Yeah, but nothing's rowdy like
they're
the
all
hometown
fun.
shows, right?
Oh gosh, yeah, no, those definitely. Well, I mean, I don't know. There's a few in West Virginia that have been real pretty crazy.
That's where Chris is from, actually.
Yeah,
That's funny.
that's where I'm from, and it does get a little rowdy down
Oh,
here.
I love it though. No, like the last time I was in West Virginia, they were throwing me Jello shots on the stage, and
Oh, that
then
doesn't
I went
surprise me at
into the
all.
oh no, and then I went into the crowd, and my poor band leader, it was his first time with me that night, and I got lost, and he was like, all I kept and the poor man, yeah, he sent the police after me, he sent the firefighters after me, he
Oh,
sent the whole fair security, bless his heart, and they finally find me, and I was in the crowd talking with people, and they were giving me moonshine, and he was like, oh my God. He goes, I have everybody looking for you. He goes, I thought I lost you. I'm like, I am so sorry. Like, I felt horrible because he was having a panic attack and he had a whole search party for me
oh my
in
gosh.
West Virginia.
That's wild.
That sounds about
The
right.
great state of West Virginia, right?
Oh, it's lovely. I love
That's
it.
fun. I've seen your dad quite a few times here in West Virginia, and it's always a rowdy crowd.
Oh,
I
yes.
bet. We just saw him there, what, was that 2 years ago, Chris, I think?
Yeah, he
When he
was
opened
with
for
Brooks and Dunn. Yeah, that was one of the all-time
Oh, I
shows.
loved
Yeah.
when he did the Brooks and Dunn tour. Yeah, that was a good one.
That was, I'm in my 30s, so that was what I grew up on was those guys. So just being able to see them in my adult life touring together at that capacity was pretty cool, pretty amazing, really. But yeah, that was a good show. Trying to think here.
That was a good show.
That is a wild story, getting lost in the crowd at your own show. That's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah. Like a big dum-dum.
No, I'm sure it isn't the first or the last time something wild like that happens.
Oh no, definitely not. That's what I'm saying, we're always getting into something.
Yeah, for sure. What are some of the cool stories you have just with your dad, like with people like, the Brooks and Dunn tour, like what are some fond memories you have growing up with like him on the road and the acts that he's, performed with or had open for him?
Oh gosh. Well, he's done tours with Uncle Charlie, and the Marshall Tucker Band, Cadillac 3. Oh gosh, Jason Aldean, you name it. Like we've had some wild times, like just being at shows and people that he's either opening for or opening for him, and yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, there's so many.
Oh, I can
He's
imagine.
he's a road
So
warrior.
many.
He stays
Oh,
on
he
the
is a
road.
road warrior.
He is,
Oh,
man.
1000%.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know he had a really close bond with Waylon, which was awesome. Rest in peace to Waylon Jennings, because
Yes,
he's
he did.
a legend in his own right. So just seeing the influence that Waylon had on your dad and stuff was really cool too. Just keeping
Oh
it real
yeah,
country.
no, that's why it was so fun doing the show with Way, because it was like, we were just talking about our families and everything, and that was the first time we met, and it was just so cool because I was like, it really all is just full circle. Like who would have thought, because Dad and Waylon got along so great, and then here me and his grandson, and like it's just so cool.
Yeah, I think he did the festival here in Fort Laramie, Ohio, a couple years ago. He opened up and did the country concert in Fort Laramie, if you're familiar with that festival at all. When I was up there, he was really good.
Dang.
Yeah, he was awesome. I didn't get to meet him or anything, but
Yeah,
I've
he's
heard
really
like
good.
great things about him. He's a great guy. So that is a full circle moment. But cool. Well,
No, it was definitely really cool.
yeah, absolutely. Well, Tyler, how about you go ahead and tell our listeners where they can find you at on social media and where they can find your music and all that good stuff.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook. I'm getting better at TikTok. Tyler Reese Tritt.
TikTok's a beast of its own, really.
It is, man.
It is
Gosh.
a beast of its own, and I'm such a little old lady, like to my core. So I'm like, what is this social media? Like, I get Instagram. I just get the hang of Instagram, and then they come out with TikTok. I'm like, damn, y'all.
Yeah, it's like, here we go, another one.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I'm like, here we go.
And it is like, and
It's got a
there's
lot of power that TikTok does. My
There is a
gosh.
lot of power there. That's why
no
I'm like,
kidding.
oh, Lord.
And there's
I
like,
got to be careful with this force.
oh, for sure. And there's no rhyme or reason, it feels like, for what videos like really blow up and what doesn't happen. Like,
No.
you'll see a great musician, like amazing singer, amazing artist, and it'll have like 50 likes or something. You're like, what is going on? And then you'll see something really goofy and it's got like 3 million likes or something. And I'm like, what? Like, what is
Oh,
the
1000%.
what's the rhyme or reason behind this whole algorithm thing? Like, how did that do so well, but then this one didn't do that well? I'm like, it doesn't make sense to me. Even stuff that
No,
we
it
post
doesn't make sense to me.
for the podcast, I'm like, oh, this video will probably do really good, and it'll get like no views. Then something goofy will blow up, and I'm like, all right, whatever.
You're like, what? No, literally, that's where I'm at. Because, like, they're like, oh, yeah, you should post, like, get ready with me videos and, like, what what you're eating or drinking for breakfast or what your makeup routine is. And I'm like, people actually care? Like, what? They actually want to see that? Like, baffled me. I'm like, wait, what?
I couldn't imagine.
It's crazy.
Well, cool.
Crazy, crazy.
Awesome. Well, Tyler, we don't want to take too much of your time. Thanks so much for hopping on the
No.
podcast and
Yeah, we
chatting with
appreciate
us.
it.
And we're rooting you on. We're loving what you're putting out and everything you stand for with your music and stuff. So keep on going. And we're definitely happy to have you on and thankful for your time.
No, of course. Thank y'all for having me.
For sure.
Absolutely. We'll have you on in a couple years. Follow back up with you.
Yeah, once you put out that
I
project
love
you're
it,
working
yeah.
on, circle back around and we'll have you on and see how things are going at that time for you too.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
For sure. Well, to our listeners, thank you guys for tuning in. Anybody that's new here, you can find us all over social media as well, just at Country Convos. We're everywhere, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all that. Go give us a like and a follow. We would appreciate it. And as always, until next time, keep it country and take care of each other.